architects who trained in Germany around 1660s. One of the program is trying to look into the work of Soejoedi Atmojo, the notable architects who designed MPR DPL building during the old order. We already held several workshops titled Transformasi Arsitektur Soejoedi, which look into the future possibility about what will happen to MPR DPR building after the move of our capital city to Ibukota Nusantara. The result of our workshop is now being exhibited in Universitas Pembangunan Jaya. So we also welcome everyone here to come to our exhibition that will run until 30th of May. So firstly, I would like to specially greet our honorable guest here, Ibu Ardyana Fahmiadi, Director General of Public Housing and Settlement of the Ministry of Public Works. It is a pleasure for us for having you participate in our event. And also we'd like to thank all the speakers, Jan Louis, Pak Ardyana Fahmiadi from Airmas Asri, and Pak Achmad Noerzaman from Arkonin, who have joined with us today. Thank you very much. Okay, so to start our event, first I would like to invite the representative of Museum Arsitektur Indonesia, Mbak Avianti Arman, as our co-director to give an opening speech. Please, Mbak Vivi.
Thank you, Anissa. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, fellow architects, lecturers, architecture students, and all architecture enthusiasts. On behalf of Indonesia Modern Architecture Museum, I would like to express my gratitude for the willingness of Ms. Diana Kusumastuti, Director General of Cipta Karya, to give a prologue to the discussion in this afternoon's webinar, and also for the presence of three special speakers, Ian Lewis, Ardyana Fahmiadi, and Achmad Noerzaman. Bincang Bersama is part of the ongoing event, Soejoedi Architectural Transformation from Dipel Architect Series. This year, Indonesia Architecture Museum is holding as a whole 5 workshops and exhibitions in order to explore and to learn more deeply about the archives of great architects who laid the foundation for the architectural landscape in Indonesia. This activity started last February and will end in July. Indonesia Architecture Museum is a non-profit institution which operates in the field of inventory, documentation, collections, and studies of architectural archives and knowledge in Indonesia. Since 2017, our presence and works have covered broad activities in production of architectural knowledge, such as exhibitions, workshops, seminars, and publications, one of which we will attend in a moment. Indonesia Architecture Museum is committed to continuing to preserve, collecting, and activating Indonesian architectural archives and introducing architectural and urban ideas to the public, especially professional architects, urban planners, teachers, and students. And we hope that this work can present the richness of design practice and discourse, building identity and knowledge of architecture in Indonesia. My greatest thanks to the team who have prepared this webinar with enthusiasm and thoroughness. And to all audience, I hope we can all be inspired from this fruitful and insightful panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mbak Vivi, for your opening speech. After this, I would like to invite our honorable guest, Ibu Diana Kusumastuti, Director General Cipta Karya of the Ministry of Public Works, to preface today's topic. Please welcome Ibu Diana Kusumastuti.
Very good afternoon, everybody. I'm sorry because I'm in Bali, so I maybe to Avianti, good afternoon, and everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, you know about the new capital city in Indonesia. Yeah, new capital city. There are 9 planning area of HP IKN, yeah, IKN, Government Center, Economic Business, Health Service, and entertainment tourism, maybe education city and innovation research, and 7 trade and distribution and food and agro industry and agriculture fishery. Yeah, this is the planning of the KIPP. And maybe we know about the vision of the national capital city. Maybe my colleagues, please about my presentation. Yeah, the vision of the national capital city is the future city model based on forest and archipelago as a symbol of Indonesia civilization transformation and advancement. Yeah. New capital city is a future smart city of Indonesia, fulfilling key performance indicator, yeah, KPI through cultural transformation, yeah, transformation in preserving nature and nationalism transformation, living transformation, and working transformation, and the end of the mobility transformation. The transformation design strategy is a hybrid workplace and blended with nature, multi-layer program, and seamless workplace and integrated zone and future-ready workplace. This is the transformation on the working, yeah, the working. So the illustration of the work transformation implemented apply in the process of formulating basic design, including collaboration, space synergy among the ministry and institution through connecting bridges, yeah, integration with road and green space. Based on appendix, maybe in chapter 5 of the presidential regulation 63 of the 2022 regarding the detailed explanation of Ibukota Nusantara, yeah, master plan. The work transformation is interpreted by creating an efficient and flexible, collaborative work ecosystem through the design and a high performance green government office environment, which is environmentally friendly, consolidated, and integrated. The achievement of work transformation is realized through compact and collaborative ministry and institutional office complexes with the following design element: creative pathway, integrated civil services, workplace and podium, co-working space, and collaborative workspace responsive to gender, pedestrian effect, and direct access to ministry and institutional building and office complete to with the concept of green building and smart building. The legislative complex is located within the KIPP, yeah, KIPP with an area of 41.8 hectares. Yeah. This is the location of the legislative institution in New Capital City. The concept design competition for the area and building in the Nusantara capital has been held, one of which is the concept design competitive, yeah, for the legislative office complex in the Nusantara capital starting for 28 2002. The winner of the competition were determined of as follow. Second prize winner, yeah, Sasana Suara Nusantara. Tim Airmas Asri be join in this meeting, yeah, and Rajut Suara Indonesia, Arkonin team, yeah, Arkonin team. The legislative complex area has an access that integrates with the master plan for the development of the core government area, KIPP, of the Nusantara capital. A central orientation with a plaza position as the focal point, strengthening of access of the eastern side of the Tripartite axis. The circular arrangement of the mesh create collaborative space both indoor and outdoor. The complex feature as active, it's integrated with the pedestrian pathway and public area on the southern side, responding to its proximity to residential, commercial, and mixed-use zone. The concept of transformation is applied in this legislative office complex. Based on the basic design set plan of the legislative institution in the new capital city, Nusantara, the legislative complex is the Nusantara capital consists of plenary session, hall building, democracy plaza, deliberation floors, and people mandate monument, democracy museum and library, MPR session of an office building, MPR office building, DPD, session and office building, DPR session and office building, mosque, I think it's a must in this location, sport facility, people's park, pedestrian bridge, Meranti Park, Ulin Park, plenary session hall, drop off for DPR, DPD, and MPN. Legislative complex missing the plenary building, is around 28,000 meter square, with 4 floor, capacity is 2,500 people, and then the deliberation parts, maybe this is the very detail, we have calculating with my team, deliberation mosque is a building 1,200%, 1,000, with 3 floors, and DPR office building, with the 10 floors, 10 floor, and 1 basement, legislative institution in Senayan, maybe we comparing, with the legislation institution in Senayan, the location is Central Jakarta, construction in March, 65, until February, 1983, with building height is 100 meter and building area is 100 square meter, maybe different in Nusantara new capital city in Jakarta, but the new concept, the concept is of excellent and innovative design. It was based on the criteria for design the building which President Sukarno provided to the design competition at the time. The criteria were follow the building complex to be constructed must have the distinctive characteristic trail of Indonesia, hence the creation of the roof and the space of Garuda bird wings, which is emblem of Indonesia. Building must also be able to meet the challenges of the time in this year. It must display grandeur and adapt to showcase an example and excellence of Indonesia architectural design. It is hoped that the building can refer to United Nations Conference building in New York, USA. The structure, maybe structure is the structural, yeah. The roof is building is similar to the structure and aircraft wing, yeah. Consists of two pure domes, yeah, domes split and half is raised in the end, yeah. Engineer Sutami explained that the structure made essentially the same principle as making aircraft wing, yeah, using the cantilever structure principle, where the body consists of the two adjustment concrete arches that will meet a single apex point. Yeah. The dome of the main assembly hall roof is indeed expected to be center attention because from of the beginning, the architect has focused to central point of attention of the main assembly hall. Yeah, this is the design of the legislative in Jakarta, in Indonesia and in Jakarta, representing the distinctive characteristic trait of Indonesia through the roof and building the shape of Garuda wings, yeah, with national emblem Indonesia. Futuristic architecture showcase grandeur, yeah, and maybe design legislative complex design in new capital city representing of symbol democracy, yeah. Nusantara architecture identity, such as expression of rice building commonly found in Indonesia traditional houses of the diverse decorative pattern of Nusantara inspiration for the facade. Design and energy efficient and the use renewable energy. Design applying the concept box transformation. And maybe once about the all of the building in Nusantara capital city must be a smart building. This is the point. And we remember about the message for my president. One is quality, and two is aesthetical, and three the third are the environmental. Maybe this is my explanation about the design for the legislative new capital city, Nusantara. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Ibu Diana Kusumastuti, for your insightful remark. It will surely enrich our discussion today. And now I would like to ask all participants to open your camera. We will take photo for documentation. The committee will help to take the screenshot.
I will start from the first page. Please open your camera. Okay, from the first page. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the second page. I'll take the photo for the second page. 1, 2, and 3. For the third page, 1, 2, 3. And for the last page, 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Without further ado, now we will start the main session. The presentation session will be moderated by Anita Halim Lim. I will introduce her profile first. Anita Halim Lim studied architecture at Tarumanagara University, Jakarta, and then received her Master of Architecture and Heritage Studies from Vrije University, Amsterdam. Her previous experience includes working in architectural heritage and conservation. Currently, Anita is one of the co-creators for Transformasi Arsitektur Suejoedi workshop and exhibition series. So I'll give the session to Anita. Please, Anita.
Thank you, Anissa, and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us in the 5th session of our Transformasi Arsitektur Suejoedi workshop and exhibition series. I'm Anita Halim, and I will be the moderator for today's webinar with the title A Comparative Analysis of the MPR-DPR Complex and its influence on the new parliament building in New National Capital, or IKN. Going from the concept of Suejoedi's architectural transformation, our previous workshop has been focusing on the idea of building transformation by imagining a new function for the MPR-DPR complex since the capital has been moved to IKN. However, today's discussion will be special because we will explore not the transformation of the building itself, but the idea behind Soejoedi Wirjo Atmojo's design. How has the legacy of Soejoedi's design of the parliamentary complex has been reinterpreted in the future architectural landscape of the new capital? To answer these questions, we have invited 3 prominent speakers today. The first one is Ian R. Lewis from the University of Amsterdam. Ian will share his research on the architectural history and significance of Asian parliament buildings, including Soejoedi Wirjo Atmojo's MPR-DPR RI complex in Indonesia. Joining him are Ardyana Fahmiadi from Airmas Asri and Achmad Noerzaman from Arkonin, who will bring their first-hand experiences designing the new parliamentary master plan and the plenary building for IKN respectively. We will also be joined later on in a panel discussion by 2 commentators, Angelin Basuki from Museum Arsitektur Indonesia and Dina Kurniati from Universitas Pembangunan Jaya. And of course, we invite all the audiences here to join the discussion. You can send your question and remark at any time during the presentation through the chat box. We will collect these questions and address them during the Q&A session. And we'll record today's webinar, so we kindly ask you to put yourself on the mute when our speakers are presenting, just to ensure a clear audio for the recording. Without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the first speaker today, Ian R. Lewis. Ian joining us from Amsterdam. So good morning, Ian. Really great to have you here today.
Thank you very much, Anita. And I'm just checking, has my screen come up? Is it
Yes.
showing? Okay, good. So thank you, and it's great to see so many people at this event. At this webinar. What I wanted to say was, first of all, really thank the organizers for this, getting this all together in a very efficient and well-run manner. I would just like to add a little about my research so people know my context. This is part of PhD research. And I'm actually a little in the beginning of my case on Indonesia. So I'm actually going to share with you some of my thoughts on my what I'm working my way through at the moment. So And hopefully I'm not repeating information that people already know something about. But it's a great opportunity to share, and it's a very wonderful moment to be able to talk about the current building and its history and the future building together. So that's great. So I'm going to make my screen full and talk very quickly about the research that I'm doing. I have 4 case studies in Asia: Tokyo, Beijing, Jakarta, and Singapore, in 3 time periods. And I'm basically trying to work on a new framework for looking at Parliament buildings. And I look at the historical context. What I would say, I'm looking at the historical context and the decision-making behind the placing and design of a Parliament building. So what was the situation at the time, political, historical, and also what was there before, going back further in time, what kind of meeting places were used, and who had agency, who were the actors in a building coming into being. And then, of course, focus on the building itself, and particularly also location, the architecture, and the plenary halls too. So a little bit there on the screen, you can see the cases, the years that the buildings were completed, at least the most recent buildings. In Tokyo, there had been previous buildings. And I'm going to draw your attention to the architects. And if you notice, I have mentioned that 3 of the 4 are committees, either departments or committees that actually oversaw. So a group of architects within, say, the Department of Public Works who oversaw the actual construction design of the building. Now, in the official information that you find about these buildings, you will see that there is an architect named. But when I dug into it further, deeper, and other scholars have done likewise, you find that actually it was taken over by a group of people working within these departments. I've given some suggestions of architectural styles within these different buildings, and I would say that they're all somewhat of a hybrid in the end, particularly the ones run which have been organized by committees. Here you can see the National Diet building in Tokyo, and I'm going to click on my pointer, and you see the roof of it has a classical look, which is related to the Mausoleum of Halicarnassus in the Mediterranean, ancient Greek periods. And I won't stay too long on each of these because we'll run out of time. The Great Hall of the People, both of these buildings were monumental. The one in Tokyo doesn't feel that way anymore with all the huge skyscrapers, but at the time it was constructed, it was the largest building in Japan. The Great Hall of the People, another monumental building, 170,000 square meters, and the plenary hall can hold 10,000 delegates. And it has a combination of different touches in the architecture in it. The one I'm going to concentrate on today, the MPR DPR building, is, I would suggest, a touch of Soejoedi's own design. He's the only one where the architect actually carried through all the way of my 4 cases. And I would suggest there's also an international style coming into that building. And then Singapore, which is the only one that wasn't built as a monumental, it tries to blend in with the colonial buildings around it. And what the other interesting thing for me with these buildings is where they're placed. What is the location? Because they usually have some form of meaning, and I'm going to talk a little about the one in Jakarta now. So for the history of this building, we had just mentioned that Sukarno is actually, the President Sukarno is actually relevant to this building. I've taken here a figure from Yuki Adiati's article of 2013, which shows Sukarno's lighthouse projects, where he was making Jakarta an international city, a beacon of light with all many modern buildings. And he actually was building over what the former Dutch colonial government had already started to set up as their center of political base, which was in what is now Merdeka Square, and that was called Koningsplein, and they were building their political buildings around this, with also important down to Mentang, this section here. They didn't get it finished because the Japanese invaded in 42, but Sukarno has took over that area and made it Indonesia's under the independence. But what I think is interesting from what I'm studying here is that the political buildings and the top centers of power in the country were all based around this square, particularly the north side of it. So where my pointer is right now in the top left of the square is where the offices of the president are, so the executive. And right next to it, and that was also in the former Dutch colonial period, was the Governor General. And the next building along on that street is the judiciary, so the Supreme Court. And then you have the headquarters of the military, and on the corner is the largest mosque, so the Islam representing the religion. And a little further around here, close to Banteng Square, was the former area, but the legislative building for the former place that the DPR and the MPR were based at. So in fact, all of them were in the same area. And so now I'm going to look at why did that change. And when Sukarno was expanding the city, so you have this Tamrin Sudirman corridor running down, which I've read is apparently inspired by the Brazilian city plan. And it ran on and it ran out to a new suburb out here. And if I understand correctly, Silaban, who was the architect of many of these buildings here in Sukarno's projects, they took a helicopter ride together to look at a base for a sports complex for the Asian Games. And this was, they were looking for it, I believe, in 1959. And some of those places were either to the east of Merdeka Square or just southeast of the Hotel Indonesia. And when Silaban saw these areas, he said, that's going to cause a lot of traffic congestion if you place them in those areas. And so they looked for another area, and they found in this area, Senayan, a large area that they felt was suitable for placing the games. And here you see on the right of the screen the great stadium that was built, sports area. And so the games took place in 62. There were other games in 63. And then in 65, Sukarno had pulled Indonesia out of the United Nations, and he wanted to invite a new international organization to set up in Jakarta called CONIFO, and he wanted a place to build that. And this area north of the stadium was still available, so that was taken over. So the building, the current building of the MPR DPR ended up on this base. And I'm curious at the moment, I don't know, maybe someone has answers to this, whether there's any significance on the axis of how the stadium, east-west, or particularly for me more the Parliament building on a southwest northeast axis. Okay, the complex, so we know Soejoedi was the architect. Sukarno's well, I'm looking at the historical situation of how this came about. So independence is not easy for any country, and there was a lot of instability. The state itself, the political state, was weak, and it's not unusual for governments or presidents in its situation to use architecture to try to bring stability to their political situation. It was also during the Cold War period, so Indonesia found itself trying to run a course to avoid becoming engulfed in either one of the other two power blocks. And so this is also how Conifer came about. By 1959, Sukarno had actually managed to take a lot of the political leadership of the country. He'd sort of sidelined to some extent the parliamentary institutions, so he could go ahead with building Jakarta into a global city. He referred to it in those senses. He wanted it to look like Moscow or Paris or London or New York. And he mentioned references to international cities. So within this Cold War period, as I mentioned, CONIFO, this idea of this alternative to the United Nations, he asked for this in 1965 to be built, this whole complex, and they had something like 17 months, which is a pretty tight schedule for any architect or any civil engineer to deal with. A number of writers have mentioned things like for Sukarno's approach to architecture relating to decolonization. So how do you avoid using or avoid the architecture of the former colonizers, so not using colonial, and also trying to, because of nation buildings, we're trying to avoid using too much of the vernacular architecture. So for him, the international style at the times, modernization, was useful. He found it a good way to move forward. For nation building, he was using monumental structures, generally accessible or in sight to the citizens, and a national identity encompassing symbolism within these buildings, Indonesian elements, particularly pertaining to, for example, ethnic groups. Some writers have also discussed his thought process of it being a global city by thinking in Javanese spatial concepts of power and political model Mandela, which would be more connected with his reaching out, with working with the rest of the world, and CONIFO might fit into that political ideal. These are things I'm thinking about in my study. So Soejoedi, how did he become the architect to the building? And there was a competition that same year in 1965. He had moved from Bandung to Jakarta to join the Ministry of Public Works. And the Minister of Public Works was a gentleman called Sutami. Sutami was a civil engineer. And they, as I understand it, they were working very well as a team on other buildings. And it was Sutami, if I understand correctly, put him forward or suggested that he do the competition, and he wasn't actually at the time originally up for it, but he did, and he got it. And he also brought many of his former colleagues from ITB in Bandung, professors, architects, students. And for the building of Conifer, there was something like 27,000 people working on this complex. There's 4 buildings going up at the same time. And there were also professors and architects and students, also from many other universities at that time, also coming to Jakarta to work on this building. So what are the possible influences on Soejoedi at the time that he was designing the building, or before he was designing, or what was leading up in and around that period? So we know that he was studying in Berlin, and in that year that he went to Berlin, I don't know if he actually was at this exhibition or it had been before he actually arrived, but some of the top names in architecture had buildings at this architectural exhibition. It was mainly focused on social housing. But the building a number of scholars have pointed out is that this Congress Hall by the architect Hugh Stebbins, which was has some similarities to the building in Jakarta. And you can see with these beamed arched beams, these two, there are 2 in the Jakarta building, and also the platform that it's on and the stairs have some similarities. This Congress Hall was actually a gift by the Americans to the Berlin government as a building to shine out in the Western democracy, and it could be seen over the wall in East Germany. So in 1958, there was another great fair in Brussels, which is focused on architecture. Now, Soejoedi was in Freiburg in Germany that year on an internship. So it's possible, I don't know whether he was at this exhibition, but I'm sure he would have seen the photos of it. And it was a time when it seemed like anything could be done. So a great showing off of what you could do with architecture. Here's I think it's called Fantastic Architecture in the French Pavilion, and futurist architecture here. In the United Nations Pavilion, for example, the International Civil Aviation Organization was showing off modern travel flights and beautiful, airports design, new airports designed. And in 1962, we see this building, which some scholars have also mentioned, might have relevance or has some similarities to our Jakarta building in New York. And I'll draw your attention to these glass walls on the side of this flight center. So in a drawing of the original design, the plenary hall building here, so hopefully you can see I'm circling, looks somewhat like the building, the Congress Hall in Berlin. And on the sides of it here, because the one in Berlin has closed walls, if I'm correct, these were glass walls on the sides, which are a little more like the TWA building. But as we can see, that isn't exactly what the roof actually turned out, the building turned out. It slightly changed along the way. This complex, Sukarno wanted it to be an alternative to the United Nations. In some of his wordings, Sukarno wanted it to perhaps look better or more dramatic than the United Nations headquarters, which was completed in 1952, with a influence in Nijmeer's architecture and some from Le Corbusier. And what is interesting is the complex, how the variety of types of structures on the complex were suggested by Nijmeer or constructed by Nijmeer. And we see something like that in the Conifo layout. But I had a look at the National Congress Palace in Brasilia. And here you see, I noticed some things a little similar in the sketch, this long, low building here. And in this one, I don't actually know the plans of Soejoedi for this, and there isn't this building in the final version. But there's some similarity there. This long walkway up, same here in Brasilia. These twin towers, the building here as two layers of building, one behind the other, and the artificial lake in front of both. And this was an important part of the original landscaping of the building. And there is an artificial lake on the complex, but it's a little further away from the building. So I don't know if it was originally intended or perhaps was larger when it was first completed. So the building then, during 65, there was a change of situation. On the 30th of September 65, a major event occurred in Indonesia, which changed many things. And there was a halt placed on construction of all buildings at that moment. And we'll go into this, but what really then happened is that the original design of this building was for a Conifo international organization, and the form was changed. The function changed to be for a parliament building before the building was completed. So the architect had to change some ideas towards that. And it's interesting also that the architect Soejoedi stayed on, was kept on, and as Sutami was also kept on to complete it. What I found was that interesting point for me was that the parliamentary institutions that had been in a building near Banteng Square, near Merdeka Square, had moved out of their building in 65 for maybe 64, but the building was under repairs, so it was being renovated. And when this September 65, their building was also halted for renovation, and they found themselves stuck in the sports complex. And well, then in December 1966, a decree designated the site was for a new parliament building. Now, I'm wondering, in my raising one of my questions, is whether I could imagine that these parliamentarians in the sports complex, who actually would like to move back to their new building, but they over the other side of the road, on the other side was this building for the Conifo being built. Conifo was not going to happen anymore. That had also been stopped. Might have been lobbying to say, could we have that building? And I could imagine also all of the architects and the professors and the students who had worked on it, lobbying to say, could we carry on to complete this building? And the architect perhaps too, and Sutami. I'll just go back a moment. In 1966, find my notes here. Sukarno was actually still technically in power, and he would have had to sign off this decree. And in a a quote of Sukarno's, which is Cusno cites Leclerc quoting Sukarno's speech in 1966, where he says, Sukarno said, "I have conceived the idea to build a parliament house, a really fine one, something worthy to be the seat of the 105 million People's Republic of Indonesia. As you know, I am an architect. Oh yes, I am indeed a megalomaniac." So it seems here that Sukarno was agreeing to change the concept, having to give up his ideas of Conifo, agreeing to make this a parliament building, and taking some credit for the putting this forward as a new building. And in 1967, Sukarno was no longer in power at all. Suharto was in full power by 67. I found it interesting that the buildings on the complex were given Sanskrit, names in Sanskrit. Some scholars have written that Suharto used a visual representation for economic development. So I would imagine that he would see the completion of the building of this as progress, economic development and progress. And for political stability, so Parliament has a place to function and can provide him with political legitimacy. So he most likely came to the conclusion that it would be a good idea to use this space. Just a quick thought on Soejoedi's architectural styles. These are some of the things I've been trying to gather of what scholars write about his different styles. And having been in the building myself, I would agree with these thoughts. And you actually, although it's a monumental, planned to be a monumental building, it doesn't feel like that when you're close up to it, when you're inside it. The proportions are very nice indeed. He has got all kinds of extra elements of Indonesian artwork and connections within the building as well. And it feels inviting to walk around this building. With the roof is sort of an umbrella. You feel sort of cool inside, outside the warm heat of Jakarta, and it feels calming and comfortable and not overwhelming.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. You have 3 minutes left,
Okay.
maybe to summarize the presentation. Thank you.
Right. Then I'm very quickly going to jump through this. The roof was the most challenging, and we know that the actual reason how that roof came about was through one of the people working with Soejoedi, who was trying to structure the roof into 2 parts using woks. It didn't work very well, but when Soejoedi saw that he'd cut it into 2 pieces, he thought this could work and took it to Sutami, who said, yes, that would work as the wings of a fuselage. So that's the origins of it. But of course, it becomes symbolic. I've seen people write that it's a turtle, and we hear also that it's been classed as being the Garuda bird, the wings of a Garuda bird. So this won't take me very long, the plenary halls. You might see on the top there something I use as a typology for different layouts of plenary halls. The one there, Singapore, is the opposing benches, which is from the British style. You see an example there in Tokyo of the semicircle. I've looked at whether there was any Dutch influence in Indonesia, and you see here what is a form of opposing benches in The Hague in the Netherlands. That's the Senate. The House of Representatives also used to have this layout, but it's slightly unusual 222. And you can see that they actually transferred that idea to the Volksraad, which is considered the forerunner to the current parliamentary institutions in Indonesia. And what there currently is, so I don't see the opposing benches layout brought forward, is in the DPR uses the plenary hall in Nusantara. And this is a little unusual, this layout. I would type it as the classroom. And this is the whole Soejoedi's roof. You can see the beams there, the arch beams, very beautiful inside the building. This is a very typical type of classroom layout. And I'm wondering how that came to be chosen. And just a quick note at the bottom there, in 1998, the DPR voted to change the names of the buildings from Sanskrit to Indonesian. So they were only Sanskrit names during Suharto's period. And finally, I'll lead into our next speakers. This new capital city. I had a quick look on the website. I see that there's a reference to a global city for all and a symbol of national identity. So I'm linking these back to the original, back to Suharto period of his idea of a global city. For his, it was about decolonization. Spatial layout, I've seen that the designers of the urban plan, the city plan, have talked about many other cities, Brazilian Canberra, and this to me, having just been to Canberra, looks something like that. And I've heard that the actor in this, Widodo, who has pushed for this city, has talked a lot about Canberra. So I'm wondering if there is direct references to that city. And then I'm curious to learn about the symbolism in the spatial layout, architecture, and the plenary halls from our next speakers. So that's it. Thank you for your attention, and terima kasih.
Thank you so much, Ian, for sharing your research with us. But before that, I would like to reintroduce Ian to the audience a little bit, because I haven't done that before. So Ian R. Lewis is a lecturer at the Amsterdam School of International Business, Amsterdam University of Applied Science since 2007, on history and politics of East and Southeast Asia countries. Prior to the academic field, he worked in management and finance in London and Amsterdam. In 2019, his published work, A Tale of Two Courts, The Interactions of the Dutch and Chinese Political Elites with Their Cities, led to a desire to further study parliamentary complex. This is currently being followed with a PhD at the Amsterdam School of Historical Studies, University of Amsterdam, on 4 case studies in Tokyo, Beijing, Jakarta, and Singapore. So thanks again. I think it really offers us a very different perspective to see the parliament buildings and complex, which has always been in the background and as a setting for many pivotal moments in our country. With the help of different parameters, we can slowly unravel the different historical layers in the nation building narratives from the MPR DPR building complex. That's why I'm looking forward for more discussion after this. And moving on next, we will take a look at the new parliamentary master plan for the new capital city. I'm pleased to welcome our second speaker, Ardyana Fahmiadi from Airmas Asri. Welcome, Mas Fahmi. Really glad that you could join us today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Let me introduce you to the audience first. Ardyana Fahmiadi graduated from the Department of Architecture at Diponegoro University in 2002. He joined Airmas Asri in 2007 and was appointed as a director in 2018. In 2012, he received honorable mention from the EI Award for the project the Pakubono View in Jakarta. He is both the member of IAI, Indonesian Institute of Architects, and IABHI, Indonesian Society of Green Building Professional. In 2022, together with his firm, He received the second prize as a joint winner for the design of the legislative complex at Indonesian New Capital or IKN. Now, please welcome Mas Fahmi.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Bu Anita. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you from the committee to prepare for the webinar. Thank you for Ian already share your research about the current MPR DPR complex. Okay. Now it's our turn to share our design for the new legislative complex at IKN. So myself and Pak Noerzaman will take turn to explain the design. Okay, maybe I'll try to share my screen. Okay, wait, this one. Okay, let's see. Okay, already seen. Okay, thank you. What you see here is the collaborative works between us, between Airmas Asri and Arkonin. We are both announced as the joint winner for the competition back in 2022. Yeah, the jury and the Minister of Public Works want to combine our design to be a one comprehensive design, the best design for the legislative complex they want. Fortunately, we have some similarity in the missing composition, so we don't have any quite difficulty combining the design. Our role, the Airmas Asri role, is to design the master planning, the complex, the offices complex, and the Arkonin will have role to design the plenary halls. Okay, let me start first with the master planning. This is for your reference, the location we already know at the IKN. The nearest city is the Balikpapan. It's about 2 hours by the road, or by toll road, and half to the common public road. When the toll road is already connected, it's only about 40 minutes from the Balikpapan airport. They will also have a VIP airport at the IKN. This is the legislative complex. At the right side, the yellow one, we sit at the Tri Praja axis. This is connected between legislative, executive, and judicative. This is the axis planned by the master planner on the overall IKN. The other axis is the nationality axis. This is south and west. During the competition and also for the basic design, we already given basic city guideline. They inform us about the provision of green space, the pedestrian lane, the public transport, and all of the city guideline. And also from the detail of the plot, we have some restriction and intensity maximum about the FAR, about the building coverage, about the provision of the green area, the building height, and the basement area. We have to follow the rule of the intensity. The site is overall about 41.8 hectares, divided into two plots. This is the big plots, and the upper side is about 33 hectares, and below you see parcel 2, this one, this is about 8.2 hectares. Okay, and then going to the concept. For the design, the master planning, we introduce 4 design pillars. This pillar is very important by itself, but also connected to each other, and we need to present all the pillars into the design. Yeah, the first pillar is about the site sensitive, because this is a very challenging site here. We have a contour. It's not a flat site. We have a quite difficult contour. We have We will analyze the wind and the water and the zoning guidelines. The second pillar is about the identity. We need to have the formal and symbol of unity, symbol of democracy, and also we need to have identity about the Indonesian culture. The third pillar is about the programs. We need to fulfill the requirements for the user, the MPR, DPR, and DPD. And the fourth pillar, also important, is about the green sustainability. We have to have a landscape strategy and how to make the energy to be more efficient. Okay, I think start to the first pillar about the site sensitive. About the meshing and the contour. The contour is quite challenging. The level of the site is varies between +20 to +70. You see about 50 meters different at the one side. And this not a one slope, but it's a hilly condition. Some area have more than 45 degrees, so it's not so suitable for the buildings to sit at that area. So we must avoid the very steep contour. So we do the mapping using the orange. Orange one is the contour to have a steep contour. So the strategy is to make a multi-meshing element. So the building can sit follow the form of the contour by using the multi-meshing, not a single big building. So and another strategy is to use the steel system to minimize the cut and fill of the site. And then the meshing and the wind direction. So based on existing windows data, the wind mostly comes from the southwest direction. So the meshing arrangement is designed to catch the wind from the open area at the southwest and flow the wind inside between the buildings to provide the natural ventilation inside its tower. Also from the water, we have existing water line, existing riparian, and existing natural reservoir that must be preserved, because this is also can strengthen this diversity of the landscape. About the zoning, at the east side, we have this, it's already planned as the city park and city forest, and we continue the park to the inside of the site. We make a city forest inside the complex. Also on the below, you can see the Taman Rakyat here. It's also planned as a green area, and the building mesh is around the Tripraja axis. Okay, and next the second pillar is about the identity. Tripraja axis. The legislative complex is located at the Tripraja axis. So to strengthen this axis, a rounded plaza is placed as a node as the ending of Tripraja axis at the east side. The other side is the judicative building. So this plaza will also act as a central point for the legislative office meshing, and then will arrange radially. We thought that the strong statement of the connected axis can also symbolize the harmony between tres politica institutions, between judicative, executive, and legislative. So as you can see here, this is the axis clearly connect to the presidential palace. The distance is about 1.6 kilometers. Okay. And then, okay, another symbol we propose is with the circular shape, with a strong central point, is chosen as the meshing of legislative complex to symbolize the unity, the same vision between the institution and the formal character of the institution. The shape also acts as symbol of deliberative activity, having discussion to produce the resolution. The central point is used as a deliberation plaza, we call a Serambi Musyawarah, where monument of people mandates and is placed in the middle. We can tell you later. This is the view of the deliberation plaza. This is act as a center point of legislative complex and function as gathering space for the representative, both in formal and informal setting. It's also symbolized the same vision of the people representative to act accordingly based on Indonesian citizen interests. At the center of the plaza, we propose the monument called the Monument of People's Mandate, which act as a symbol to remind the representative of the responsibility to carry out the people's mandate. This is a view from the pre-function area of the halls. So we put the halls around the plaza, so everybody will join the meeting during the inside the hall. We'll see the monument as the reminder that they have a responsibility to carry out the people's mandate. Okay. This one is the symbol of the collaborative. The building maze is arranged as compact as possible, close to each other, as symbol to collaborative synergy between the institution, between MPR, DPR, DPD, representative of people of Indonesia. So the mazing compact will ease the circulation between the building and also provide more space for the green area. Okay. Another identity that we talked about is about the people's sovereignty. We want to make the legislative complex inclusive to the public. Okay. The heart of democracy is the people sovereignty. This is represented in the design, integrates public facilities and access within the Indonesia legislative complex, both of outer perimeter. This one, the park, the mosque, and the democratic plaza here in the center of the complex. We propose the museum and library in the central, but the different level. This practically and philosophically emphasize the importance of society as the highest power in democracy. This integration also creates an inclusive and intimate area. So you can see in the eye view here, this is the city, forest city. This one, they can be accessed by the public. The public can also going to the museum and library below the plaza. And this one, the mosque and sport facility is also open for the public. Okay. This one, view from the forest. You can see the bridge. This is the bridge to the museum below the plaza. And you can see the section. The center of the museum, we propose the monument of people mandates. This is going through from the bottom to coming up to the plaza. This is the view from the lower and the ground from the museum. You can see in the plenary halls here. This is the big point, and in the center is the monument of people's mandate. Okay, the next identity is about the Indonesian culture. As a representation of the Indonesian people, the building design is inspired by local Indonesian culture. For architectural expression, we choose the pilotis column and terrace concept inspired by typology of steel houses from all over Indonesia, while the facade design is inspired by various traditional woven fabric. So we saw that the Indonesian vernacular architecture is mainly have a steel structure because it's very adaptive to the site morphology. We don't choose the roof expression because the roof is owned by specific culture. we want to have a more global Indonesian culture. Then we choose the pilotic steel houses. This is what which our inspiration about the architecturally. And also from the terraces, on the traditional houses, mainly have terraces around from the social spaces. So we also provide in the design. And this is from the facade. We inspired by the local clothing art. You see Seni Wastra Nusantara. It's very diverse, yet unique to its region. The pattern is usually consists of various vertical, horizontal, and diagonal line composition. So we use the pattern from the facade. And also this is the entry area, and then also at the overall facade, we use vertical lines coming from the floating art. This is also act as a shading device. I'll tell you later. This is the view. This is MPR offices. Okay, then this is the overall block plan that you can see in the center is the plaza, deliberation plaza. The number one, this one is the planning halls. The north side is the DPR complex, and the south one, this one is the for DPD, for MPR, and this one is for the DPD. The right side is the facility, malls, sport facility. Then have a skateway going to the museum and the library. The green area is a forest from the public, and also here is the city forest. Have the democratic plaza here. This is isometric view from the. This is MPR building. This is the DPR building. This is around 10-story maximum. The center is the halls, like this is also halls, and the DPD also the same composition. The inner is for the halls, auditorium, court, and the outer diameter is for the offices for the member. This is the plaza. Below is the museum and the library from the public. And also we have a mosque and a sport facility at the east side. Okay, and the last pillar is about the green and sustainability. Yeah, so we provide as much as possible the green area. Minimum 70% of the green space. That is required to have 50% of the native plant from Borneo, 30% of Indonesian plant, and can be 20% for non-native plant, usually for the decorative aesthetic purposes. Apart from the ground landscape area, the design of the legislative complex also provide multiple green spaces and planting areas on the building, such as roof garden, outdoor terrace, vertical garden, planter boxes. So it can be used as an informal collaboration space and break area from the worker of legislative complex to boost their productivity. This one isometric view of the pocket garden and roof garden, etc. Okay, this is we did the simulation about the wind flow. That we found that we make a gap between the building can speed up the velocity of the wind, because wind velocity at the side is quite low because we are in the equator. So by making a small gap, we can speed up the velocity to go inside the building. Our main purpose is to reduce the use of AC up to 30%. So we must still have a comfort to work with the air circulation. So the plan also, we make the typical plan from the offices. We also make a void atrium type. So we have also have a vertical air circulation between the story. This one, the gap between the building, we have the inner court, we have the operable window of the facade. This one, from the interior, this is you can see the atrium. Our intention is to have a vertical and also horizontal wind circulation, air circulation inside the building to reduce the use of the AC. So we also modify the typical member room. We make some open spaces that can flow the air from the air circulation. Okay. This is a illustration from the office space. And also for the facade, we analyze the solar factor that need to be adapted to the use of the shading device. We analyze the hotter part should have a dense shading device, and the cooler area will have less shading device. That will create a vibrant facade composition. And the last is about the renewable energy. We put as much as possible solar panel at the roof for non-roof garden. We put a lot of solar panel that we can produce about 657 kilowatt peak. That will equivalent for 4% electricity requirement from the complex. That will help a lot. Okay, this one, the last slide. This is the overall view from the legislative complex. And this one, the last. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mas Fahmi, for sharing with us such a delightful presentation. It is very interesting to see how the new master plan of parliamentary building in IKN has been designed with such a compact building configuration, which is something that's very different with the current design in Senayan, I think. So now, after seeing the master plan, it's time for us to get a closer look at the plenary hall. So now I'm pleased to welcome Pak Achmad Noerzaman from Arkonin to share his design on the plenary hall of the Parliament complex in the new capital. Welcome, Pak Achmad Noerzaman.
Hello, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. And please allow me to introduce you to the audience first. Achmad Noerzaman graduated from the Department of Architecture at Universitas Indonesia in 1987 and furthered his studies with a master's in management in 2003. He began his career at Arkonin in 1987, eventually becoming a director, and then from 2004, serving as the first president director. His experience and dedication also led to roles such as a member of the Jakarta IAI, Indonesian Institute of Architects, Ethics Code Council, a member of the Architectural Advisory Team, TPAK, for DKI Jakarta Province, and a member of the expert team for urban architecture building, TABGAP in DKI Jakarta. In 2022, together with his firm, he received the second prize as the joint winner for the design of the legislative complex at Indonesian New Capital or IKN. Pak Noerzaman, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, all participants, audience. I'm glad to be here, and we start with our concept of the plenary hall. That democracy in national life is realized in the People Party at the general election every 5 years. Every Indonesian citizen has the right to vote and to be elected. Democracy is a manifestation of the sovereign people. It is the people's voice that determines the direction and future of the nation through general elections. The essence of Parliament is a representative institution that accommodates the aspiration, assembles and waves the people's voices through elected people's representative from deliberation and consensus, which leads to the birth of the country's constitution or laws in accordance with the Pancasila philosophy. With the constitution, the state is organized and the aspiration of the people are manifested. Above all, on the basis of a state that believes in one almighty God, all constitutional formation processes are requested to receive guidance and direction from Almighty God. This philosophy is manifested in the form of a skylight from above as a symbol of God's light. The circular roof made from a series of woven structural lines as a symbol of the people is a transformation of woven form that of the is a transformation of woven form that is often found in Indonesian craft and weaving art designs to produce a light shadow effect in the form of scattering gems with means a string of equatorial emeralds. The orientation of the building is towards the presidential palace as the center of government. The People's House is placed as a landmark on the Tripraja Trias Politica axis, which represents the interaction of the people with the government in manifesting Rajut Suara Indonesia or waving Indonesia's voice. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we very often find the craft and the culture the people usually use for the daily attributes like basket, hats, etc. Like this. Next. Yeah, we will show our original thoughts or ideas that we start with the axis because the plenary hall as this iconic or the center of the parliament, but the assembly will be held here. So we would like to make it with the unity of all the complex and make it very stand out. Next. Yeah, this is our ideas. Next. Yeah, to strengthen the orientation of the axis, we make it to stretch the center to Tripraja axis. So because the circular form, the orientation is like to everywhere like that. So we make it two ways orientation to the Tripraja axis that's connect connected to the executive and judicial complex. Next. Yeah, our idea to make it layer by layer of the form. Next. This is the lobby, the entrance. Next. Yeah, actually the first idea is all the assembly hall, like the chamber, like that, with the coach light from above to make all the member of House of Representative always remember to the God to before the make decision. Next. Yeah, after developing the design, we make it because it's too tall, we make it shorter, and to also how to symbolize the 1945 symbol like that. So we make it from ground to the top of the building is 45 meters. Yeah, this is the section. We make it the skin of the building, richness of natural lights, and also we get the solar energy harvesting from the skin. Next. Yeah, this is our study compare how we superimpose the Senayan's size and the IKN plenary hall size. So you can see that the new one is much bigger because to accommodate much more members of representatives. Next, yeah. Yeah, we also study the flow of the gas and also all the dictionary, especially for the president and also the VVIP gas. Next. This is the study for facade that how to expose or to show the beauty of the structure like that. Next. And then also the interior ambience of the assembly hall. Next. Study step the staggering the structure of assembly hall. Next. Yeah, from the master plan that Pak Fahmi already explained before, compared to the Senayans, that this is also almost the similar axis that the plenary hall in front and behind the building is the open space like that. So, but unfortunately, actually, we have the site. There's a road like this. So this road actually makes the building like very close to the road, compared to the Senayan or Jakarta Parliament House. There's a very far from the main roads that make it more dignity, more monumental image like that. So we suggest to make it this road as a private road like that, that not the public can enter freely through in front of the plenary building. Next. Yeah, the facade of plenary building is divided into 3 layers of skin, all 3 of which complement each other both in terms of function, structural, and philosophical. The outer shell of the plenary building resembles weaving, which is the main concept of this building. The woven white lines symbolize the voices and aspirations of the people that are open into the building. Apart from that, the diamond patterns formed from the waves is a motif that is commonly found in various decorative Indonesian literary arts. The waves then merge into one unit, which is then continued by the crown in the form of vertical lines that rise from the skin of 2 plenary buildings, which depicts the unity of voices and aspiration of the Indonesian people, which are manifested in the form of laws.
Dimanfaatkan.
Yeah, our study by
Buat dipakai nggak?
3D printing. Next. Yeah, this animation of the structure of the building. Yeah. Next. Okay. The programming zoning of the plenary hall level by level from ground level to the 4th level. This is the zoning of for the visitors, the members, the VVIP, and also the logistic, etc. Next. Yeah, the circulation, actually the approach from the roads for the VVIP actually come from here and then drop off the president or VVIP from here and go upstairs to the lobby and arrive here, the lobby, and then go upstairs again, entering the assembly hall. Yeah. Next. Yeah. This is the different with the Senayan complex or in Jakarta. There's a grand stair in front of the building and the Democracy Plaza or Plaza of Democracy. This can let the demonstrants or the people give the aspiration to their representative, and also we make it not go to everywhere or go to directly to the building. So this plaza accommodates all the activities of the people, especially the demonstrant to use this space for that protest, etc. But for emergency, anytime the bridge can be isolated or interrupted like that to block the people not go in the buildings. like our experience in 1998, that the people can climb the buildings. That's the Secretaries of Parliament concern about the security, especially for the members and also for the VVIP and also the security for the buildings. Next. Yeah, this is the drop off of the president or VVIP. That's we by design we make it in under our lower ground drop off to remind the president comes from to make the president or VVIP down to earth like that. So comes from ground to go upstairs like that, and to remind that they are elected by the people. So this is the lobby with the concourse around all the function room here, and this is non-aircon space that also with the greenery, and for this level will be utilized for the meeting rooms, the press room, also receive the people who have or demonstrant, the representative of demonstrant will be here. Next. Also the praying room, the musola. And this is the assembly hall. To accommodate for this level, 700 seats, and the member of representative projected in maybe 50 or 70 years become 1,500 representatives. So the size of the building will be much bigger than the Senayan. So we make it or to accommodate totally 2,200 members and visitors will be here. This is the second floor or the balcony, and the next is the people gallery that can watching the member of representative in the assembly hall during assembly like that, and also watching which member sleepy or not. Okay, this is the roof. You can mention that the center actually not really now at the center. Here we make it subject to stretch it little bit to the back of the plenary hall, and to strengthen the orientation of to the Tripraja axis. Like next. Yeah, the section of the plenary hall will be like this. This is the plaza of Democracy Plaza here, and we have yeah, this is the section. Yeah, I'll tell the flow of the president will be dropped off here and then go upstairs and go to the assembly hall here. There's a holding room before entering the assembly room. And also there's a lounge for president and the minister of the dignitaries guests. Next. Yeah. Yeah. This is the certain number to symbolize for 45 the head of the building, and also the crown is 17 meters to symbolize the date of Independence Day. Next. Yeah, we design it how to flow the air to the top of the building and extract out the hot air. So we make it like this, and also because this is like catch the heat or the light, sunlight or the solar energy. So we make it like harvesting solar energy by solar film, and can generate the power for the electricity for the building. Next. Yeah, this is the final design. Next. With all the complex the offices for the members. Next. Yeah, from another side, like this. Yeah, again, actually, we'd like to suggest to the secretary that this road not open for public. So let the people, the public go with the main road, the boulevard in east and west, right? Next. Yeah, it also shows the activities of the Plaza Demokrasi here. And we have the reflecting pool, and also go the grand stair to the lobby. Next. Yeah. Also, we have helipad here. Next. For evacuation for the president in case of an emergency. Next. Yeah, from Plaza Demokrasi. Next. This is landscape below Plaza of Democracy. Next. And bridge. Yeah, this is the drop-off area for president or VVIP guests with the escalator go to the lobby. Next. We also studied the lighting. Next. Yeah. So at night it's like jewels like that. So it's very bright. Yeah. For the interior, we collaborate with Adiprana how to make it the theme of waving Indonesian craft. The region, we have richness of culture or also craftsmanship here. Next. So we the Indonesian craft pattern will represent in the Parliament House. Next. This is how we make to develop the weaving pattern. This is the Indonesian craft pattern that we very familiar to find it. Next. Yeah, artworks concept also based on the 4 pillars of people, consultative assembly, that Pancasila, the Constitution, Negara Kesatuan NKRI, and also Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. Next. Yeah, Pancasila themes will represent here that the concept of plenary hall also can reflect the East and West part of Indonesia and Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, and also how to represent all the culture. So the Sila, the 5 principles of Pancasila, the Sila, the first principle that ketuhanan yang Maha Esa, this is the we will represent at the ceiling or the skylight, and then the second principle will be here, and also the other principles. Thanks. Yeah, the holding room, the president lift lobby will represent Bali inspired Java and Nusa Tenggara, and the first and the second floor plan will represent Bhinneka Tunggal Ika, Kalimantan inspired, Sumatra inspired, Sulawesi, and Papua inspired. Next. Yeah, this one, the basic concept and ambience of the details for doors and also floors and also the ornaments. Next. The main lobby concept also how to make the Indonesian archipelago crafted, and this one the cut wood like that. Next. Yeah, this is main lobby. There's escalators and also grand stair to the assembly room, and also the greeneries. Remind the also the hut like that, and we will enlighten by the diamond shaped natural lights like that, to remind the we call it Untayan Zamrud Katulistiwa. It means the scattering gems, which means a string of equatorial emeralds. Next. Yeah, this is the grand stair to from main lobby to the assembly hall. Next. The main doors entrance. Next. Yeah, this is
Could you finish in 5 minutes? Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the concourse around the assembly hall. Next. This assembly room concept. Next. Yeah, this is the plan. Shows the 700 people will be here. Next. And the balcony. Next. Yeah, this one, the backdrop, the states, the main states of the assembly hall with the Pancasila and also the ornament for, yeah, and the skylights. And this one is waving gallery for the people can watching from above the assembly hall. Next. This is president holding rooms. Next. President hold lifts, elevators, and this is a lounge for the president, and then the minister and dignitaries waiting rooms or lounge here. This is the conference room. Next. Yeah, this press room actually, press conference rooms. Next. And the banquet hall. Next. Yeah. The musola, prayer room. Next. And open gallery. That's sometimes there's an exhibition, and the meeting rooms here. Yes. Also this the press and journalist room. Next. We have maybe 5 minutes more. That's we would like to compare the set master plan Senayan and in IKN. This is the Pak Soejoedi in 1964, the design competition in the left, and the center is the master plan. Now in Jakarta, and the right one is our master plan in IKN. Next. Yeah, at ground level, actually, we have the different shape. The podium of Senayan or Pak Soejoedi's design is square. We have circle room, round shape like that. Next. Yeah, this is the ground floor. Also, the sporting facilities here. Next. Yeah, there's mezzanine actually in Jakarta. We have no mezzanine. Next. Yeah, the assembly room. Actually, you can compare how big the new one on the right. This is maybe 3 times bigger. The balcony also. And yeah, this is the people gallery. There's in Senayan, there's no people gallery like this. So the roof from above. This. Next. Yeah. Next is the comparison of the size of assembly hall. The yellow one is yeah, the yellow one is the Senayan size, and line the IKN assembles. You can imagine that this is much bigger. Next. Also, if we compare in section, we try to make it superimpose between Pak Soejoedi's design and IKN. Next. Yeah, so this one. The green one is the Pak Soejoedi design in Senayan, and the red one is the next parliament house or plenary hall in IKN. The span 145 meters. Compared to 85 meters in Senayan. So it's almost double. Next. Yeah, this is front elevation compared to Senayan and IKN. Next. Yeah, from south area, from behind of this is also the same elevation. Next. Okay, maybe that's all our team, and next, thank you.
Thank you, Pak Noerzaman, for such a comprehensive presentation, not only of the actual design, but also for the design process behind it. So now, after seeing the design of the new Parliament complex in IKN, I would like to invite Ian Lewis to give his comment or ask questions to both Mas Fahmi and Pak Noerzaman.
Okay, thank you very much indeed for those two presentations. Very fascinating. And what I was thinking about was what a difference over time with new technology from when Soejoedi was making his drawings to the fact that you can do everything with these computer models and show us everything from different angles these days. It's a huge difference. I have a general question to both of you, actually. So I don't know which of you would like to work on it. But the building, when I was studying it, I realized how Sukarno had some influence on it, maybe not so much on that building, but he was interested in the architecture, etc. And President Widodo is interested in this new city, and I don't know if you've ever heard from him about your designs at all. But I'm also maybe interested in, have you had contact from the Secretariat or the members of any of these, the MPR, the DPR, in your plans, or do you expect to maybe discuss with them? And have you actually visited any other complexes, parliamentary complexes? I'm guessing you've visited the one in Senayan, but I'm wondering if you visited anywhere else in the world for your studies, or looked at any others in the world for your design for these designs that you've shown us today.
Okay, let me answer. Continue to Pak Nur, maybe. Okay, about the design input. Mostly from the competition process, we have design brief quite clear, actually from the user, the DPR MPR user, about the programming. And then after we won the competition, and then we do the basic design process, we have more discussion to the user, to the DPR and MPR. and DPD also. The most useful input is about the programming also and the connectivity between the rooms. They said some condition and the current complex is not very ideal for them, and they want to fix in the next new legislative complex. And that's all. The input from the president, we didn't meet personally, yeah, but some pas pamres, the security guard from the president is also give the input from the security purpose. Yeah, maybe partner can add something.
Okay, Pak Ayan. Yeah, we got the input not directly from Mr. President, but through the Secretary of Parliament, that they mentioned about the organization work relationship and the events held in the building will affect the programming of the buildings, because like a plenary hall actually annually maybe 2 times utilized for the annual presidential speech, and also when the president proposed the new budget for the next year. So and the General Assembly for 5 years, only for every 5 years. There's the inauguration of new members of the parliament, and also the inauguration of new president and vice president, and General Assembly itself. So it's very rare the member utilize this plenary hall actually. And besides that, also actually yes, Pak Fahmi mentioned about the secretary service of the president, very concerned about the protocol of to evacuate president when there's in case of emergency. So the safety corridors from every place, how to immediate access to the helipad actually, and this height, it's very tight to place the helipad with the very also tight regulation of the helipad. So finally we find the right place, even though the distance is longer than the protocol is actually. So they will provide the like panzer, panzer, the anti vehicles like that directly from the president lift to the helipad. So this is the workshop, very intense to discuss about the access for the CPIP. And yeah, the rest is how to accommodate the number of House of Representatives in the future until 1,500 members like that. So it's a huge number. That's why it's you look that it's very big actually, maybe 2 or 3 times than the capacity now in the size compared to the Senayan now. Thank you.
Thank you. That was very interesting. And my second question was about whether you've actually studied any other complexes in the world.
Oh yeah, yeah. We studied the Canberra Parliament House, but different type of assembly hall like that, because this British system like that. Yeah. So it's not a classroom like that. But here, continuing the classroom type, because it's like, you know, there's one stage in front, and then the rest is the members watching directly to the front, and just the modification of the table to accommodate all the what the members need now. Because now in SNAIN it's very tight. So if the one members comes late, you have to stand to give the way for the member go through. So the space for its members, and also for the guests, especially for the VVIP guests, now is also very tight in SNAIN, so we have to make it more appropriate like that. Also, we studied the Berlin, but not yet visited. But because we inspired how Norman Foster have the circular gallery for the people can watching the members downstairs. Like, so we accommodate that kind of people can watch directly to the assembly hall, and the jury actually appreciate the idea of this. Yeah, the rest is we also studied and the in Middle East Parliament. It's also almost similar here. So, like, you know, in some like Turkey and also the Arab Saudi is also unique parliament house like that. Okay.
Very interesting indeed. Yes. Talking about the space and the usage of that, I was wondering, in the current parliament, I was showing earlier Nusantara 2, in one of the other buildings, DPR use an auditorium for some of their sessions. And I wondered, were you asked in the complex to have other chamber plenary halls available, or do you know if they're going to be using just the one central one a lot more for the 3 different branches of the institutions?
Yeah, actually every MPR, it's DPR, and DPD as its plenary hall actually. So there's no session that's let's say DPR will use the plenary hall here. So there has its plenary hall for its in the office building. So that's why we told you we talked to you about the utilization of this plenary. Well, it's very rare because only for all the members can assembly here yearly, annually, or 5 years at the General Assembly occasion like that. So it's I think the rest is just to just like monument like that.
So they do each have their own plenary halls in their own complexes. Okay.
Yes.
It's
From
They have own plenary halls. We put it around the plaza, the round plaza. There are plenary halls. They have own auditorium. They have their own commission meeting rooms. Yeah. So they have their own halls for them. Yeah.
Okay. Great. And then are they? Do you know of the seating layouts? Are they classroom style or?
Yes, even the same as the current classroom style. Yeah.
Okay, and the same as because I showed two slightly different forms when I was in Nusantara 2 was classroom, but with an odd layout.
Oh, okay. See.
And if they were keeping that.
Pak Fahmi can show the video. It's a comprehensive.
Okay, wait. Okay, I'll look on the plans. Wait. Okay. Okay. Sorry, it's a very a lot of pages here. Sorry.
Maybe I can ask. I mean, I think it was very good that you showed all of the different symbols of 1945 in the taken into account in the heights. So all of these different requirements, the Pancasila, the unitary state, unity and division. So
Okay.
it's nice that you've shown those in your presentation. Is there any deadline for the final version to present that the Parliament building is ready for, like the 17th of August? Hardly this year, but maybe in a year's time.
Yeah, actually, we already finished the basic design.
Yes.
Around last year, yeah, Pak Nur, yeah. March last year. So it's the final design for the basic. And we are still waiting for the tender process for the design and build scheme.
Okay.
So the design is already final and will be continued.
But the actual construction has not yet begun, I take.
Not yet.
Yeah.
So, Ian, have you got all the answers that you're looking for?
I've done very well, but I think we need to move on to other people for questions.
Yeah. Sure. So we're having some questions piling up in the chat box. Maybe since we have been talking about the plenary hall, there's one question from Vernicia. Is there any idea for this huge plenary hall to be used for other functions so that it is not only occupied only several times, 2 or 3 times a year, like the one in Senayan? Maybe Noerzaman.
Yeah, it depends on the Secretary of Parliament, who have the events or the assembly. But now the like protocol, the plenary hall only for the annually assembly and 5-yearly assembly like that. So it's yeah, better can be utilized more than 2 or 3 times in a year, because it's a nice place, and also oh yeah, sometimes used by the the speed from the you know, the leaders from other countries like that. So like maybe a few years ago, when the Pak Joko Widodo accepting the King Abdullah from Saudi Arabia, and at speech in Senayan. Yeah, maybe the special event like that can be used the plenary hall.
Okay, thank you, Pak Noerzaman. And now it's time for our panel discussion. So I would like to invite Ibu Dina Kurniati from UPJ. Let me introduce Bu Dina. Dina Kurniati is a lecturer in the Architecture Department of Universitas Pembangunan Jaya. She holds a bachelor degree from UII and master's degree from Universitas Indonesia Architecture Department. Dina was a professional assistant in the Public Works Department in West and South Jakarta. He currently teaches architecture studio, structure and material studio, and landscape design in the Architecture Department of UPJ. Bu Dina, the floor is yours. For the operator, could you unmute? Thanks.
Hello. Thank you for inviting us. It's honored to be gathered here and for the opportunity during the discussion. In the discussion, we also have the pleasure of Mrs. Buruma, the head of the architecture department. It's very interesting to be discussed the MPR and DPR building in the new capital city. I have two questions. How does the design of the MPR DPR building reflect the value of Indonesian democracy, especially for the people? And the second, what are some of the challenge of designing of a building that embodies the principle of democracy? I think that's all.
Okay, thank you, Bu Dina. So your question is, what are the challenges in designing buildings that embodies democracy?
Okay. Okay, let me answer. Okay. Yeah. In the design, we put a lot of symbol of the democracy, as I mentioned, as one pillar of the identity of the legislative complex. I think it's about the people's sovereignty, that we can make the complex as inclusive as possible. People can go inside the complex with the different access. We have a lot of green spaces for the public can go inside. We have a museum, we have a library. This is about the people's sovereignty concept at the heart of democracy. And then about the unity symbol, we have the circular radial amazing arrangement. We make the symbol of the one, and the institution have the one vision, the same vision for the people they represent. They also give the formal character of the legislative complex. Also, we put some monument that as the representative of the people's mandate, the monument of people mandate. There's a lot of symbol that we can put inside the So the complex, I think. Okay, maybe let's answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So now let me invite another commentators, Angeline Basuki, to the floor. Angeline Basuki is a fellow researcher at Museum Arsitektur Indonesia and co-curator for the Transformasi Arsitektur Soejoedi workshop and exhibition series. She is trained as an architect at Universitas Pelita Harapan and earned an MA in Heritage Management at the University of Kent and Athens University of Economic and Business. Angie has experience in managing restoration projects in both built environment in Kota Tua, Jakarta, and nature environment for the mangrove and peatland restoration initiatives in Kalimantan and Nusa Tenggara. So Angie, did you have any questions and remarks?
Thank you, Anita, and thanks, gentlemen, for a really comprehensive presentations that we just saw. Maybe first to respond about the master plan that Pak Nur mentioned. It was actually designed in 1965 by Slamet Wira Sonjaya. So it was responding to Soejoedi's initial 4 masses of conifer complex. And maybe in aligning to that, now we have Airmas Asri with the master plan, and Arkonin in charge with the parliament design. How to achieve like one united concept between the 2 proposals, and was there any changes or adjustments that you have to make in the process?
Anur, or me? Yes.
Yes. Okay. Fortunately, we have almost the same master plan that we have the circular master plan like that to reflect the sound of democracy, like that, the echo of democracy. The difference is only behind the plenary hall. Our concept actually void, empty, no buildings, because inspired by Soejoedi Master Plan in 9, actually, how the plenary hall is stand alone without any other buildings behind or in front of the plenary hall. So we make it like that. So it's like solid void that our plenary is solid and behind is void. We make it a lake with the forest like that. It's empty, but symbolize the deliberation like that also, and unity, because it's circular like that. And but Airmas actually make it with the museum underneath the roof garden like that. It's almost the same, because it's from above it's like just a garden, like just a green area. So that's also like sorry for that. So we have no difficulties to merge our 2 concepts of our master plan. So, and it's very easy to do our parts, Arkonins and Airmas. We do the plenary hall. The rest is Airmas like that. So like cut the cake. So it's very easy. It's different with like vice president office palace winners. There's two also two winners. That's a different concept, and it's difficult to combine. So the Ministry of Public Works has to choose one of them like that. So fortunately, we have the same idea with Airmas, and go very smoothly to make the final design. Yeah, maybe.
Thank you, Pak Nur. So the next one, I also want to respond that, yeah, I do see some resemblance from the new plenary hall plan from taken the inspiration from Senayan. But then form wise, they both like expressed in different shape. I don't really want to analyze further on the symbols, but maybe when we are talking about monument and symbols, the planner or the owner can have their own intention of what they want to represent, but then historical events or other perception from the audience, from the public, could be defined in different, could be perceived as different. Let's say for like what we saw from Ian's presentation, where it was actually sort of an accident that the shape of the parliament looks like that. But then as time goes by, the new order decided, oh, actually it looks a bit like the eagle wings. But then the public thought, oh, actually it's like a turtle. so yeah, maybe it's just like a response, like what could be perceived is something that could be quite wild. So maybe the last question, both for Pak Nur, maybe for Airmas Asri and Arkonin as a team, I would like to know to what extent your involvement in the construction of this complex. Are you going to be supervising as well in the construction? Or is it going to be handed over to the Ministry of Public Works or other institution? Because, well, here we have many architecture students with us, so maybe it could be like a great sharing and insights of what kind of different diversity of architectural graduates profession they could have. So yeah.
Okay. Ya, Pak Fahmi atau?
Oh yeah. Okay. Actually, in the next phase is the tender process for the design and build team. That means the detailed design will be continued by the contractor and the consultant below the contractor. But we want to still be involved in the construction process, the detailing process. We want to find a way that we can still involved in the detailed design and also from the construction process, because it is a very important project, and we want the build one is have our design intent is still there, I think. Yeah. Okay, I think that's my answer.
Okay, good to know. Then, Anita, I return it to you. I think we have like bunch of questions already. Thank you.
Angie. Thank you so much. So now it's the time to read some questions from the chat box right now. So we have previously talking about the symbolism. There's one interesting questions by Afianti Arman. So a simple question for Pak Fahmi and Noerzaman. Bureaucrats in Indonesia are very keen with narratives that use symbols such as 45 floors, which represent the independence year, as well as access that cannot actually be perceived in human empirical experience. To what extent do these things influence your designs? Can the design be done by considering only aesthetic and functional factors? So
Yeah.
Maybe Pak Noerzaman.
Yeah. Actually, the numbers which symbolize some like 45, 17. It's also by accident because my intention not that numbers, because we make it by right proportion like that. But fortunately, we find that number. We found that number suit to our buildings. You know that for the plenary hall, actually, the main issue is how to accommodate the number of members. One. Secondly is how to represent the new parliament house with because it sits in the forest like that. So I make it like different approach with Pak Soejoedi. If in Senayan actually not really parliament house, this is a CONEFO conference assembly hall like that. And with the shell, it's very massive. We make it transparent like that, because we're facing the technology, the how to make it sustain with the renewable energy like that. So and also people really can make perception like, the turtle or the Garuda wings like that, or the Sydney Opera House. People some imagine it's associated with the the ship screen, or also the turtle, a tree turtle stand like that. But this is also can people make it like a cap or hat or a basket like that, no problem. But the idea start from how to make the skin actually reflect the richness of culture of Indonesia. And I very interesting in the words of Untayan Zamrud Katulistiwa, the like diamond shape will enlighten all the concourse around the assembly hall like that. So, and also Pak Yan, I also remember the Chandigarh Le Corbusier in India. Also, the chamber shape inspired me to how to make it also the top of the building, because this is the parliament. It's like chamber like that. So we make it the top of the building is chamber like that. So more is the function actually. Start from the function and then the how to the impression of not the old-fashioned shape like that, but more futuristic and but still friendly for the environment. Maybe that's hopefully can answer the previous question.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Noerzaman. Now we have a question for Ian from Yasmin Tri Aryani. The MPR DPR building was originally designed as Conevo facility. How has this impacted the current use? Do you see any difference of the building accommodating the parliamentary needs if compared to other buildings in Beijing, Tokyo, or Singapore?
Thank you for the question. I'm not sure if they had to do very many changes from the original because it was a complex as well. So, for example, there's even sports facilities on it. So they had a lot of space to use in Senayan. What I thought was interesting is in the also, you mentioned there's a banqueting hall in the new building design, and there is a separate banqueting hall in the complex in Senayan, so not in the main the building with the main plenary hall. And most other parliament buildings have some form of catering facilities for the members in the building, but not a big banqueting hall as such, except in the one in Beijing, which has a banqueting hall for 5,000. It's one of the largest in the world. And what usage-wise, that building is also not used so much like Indonesia, where the main hall is only used a few times a year. That's also the same for the one in Beijing, the Great Hall of the People. And what they actually use it for international concerts. So sometimes some big international stars have played concerts in the hall in Beijing. So that might be an interesting thought for the new building, to the Secretariat, to think about that in the future. But yeah, I think they were able to adapt the original to the one that is now in Jakarta, from the Conevo to the because it was to cater for a number of delegates. And what it also has is an arcade, an area that you could have a shopping arcade that was in the original one. They don't have that, but when I was in the building recently, they actually had market stalls in an area on the ground floor, which I think they have once a year leading up to the Ramadan period. And so that was very interesting as well, because most parliament buildings do not have that in their within the layout.
All
Okay.
right. So speaking of adaptation, that leads us to another question by Haki Abdullah. The old Indonesian parliament building and many government buildings will also move to Nusantara, Indonesia's new capital. There is also an issue of sinking Jakarta and will have an effect on those unoccupied buildings and their surroundings in the future. My question is, how do you respond to this issue, and what kind of architectural strategies should be made in part of the regeneration of the unoccupied government buildings? Maybe this is actually a question that everyone could answer. So let's start from Mas Fahmi, maybe.
The uses of the non-use building, government building, yeah. I heard they will rent the space. I don't know, but maybe not the some significant building like the MPR DPR like this. The other like the Ministry of the Keuangan, monetary.
Finance.
Yeah, finance. They will maybe they will rent the space. I have no idea about the MPR DPR will be used. Maybe Comparative.
Yeah. Okay. The issue of subsidence and also thinking in the future for Jakarta. We have planned the idea of build a giant seawall of the Jakarta Sea that it's about 30 kilometers from west to east to like Amsterdam, to break the water and then to inside the water become clean water because Jakarta needs a lot of clean water. So giant seawall will respond of the issue of the sinking Jakarta. Second is the how about the abandoned governmental offices like or facilities. Actually, the scenario of the funding of IKN actually 54% funded by the joint like public private partnership between the private and government. The private will utilize the former buildings like ministry buildings, also like this one. I agree with you, Ayan, that Pak Soejoedi's Senayan's plenary hall will be maybe in the future like utilized for the concert hall or music hall or cultural center. It's, I think, a great idea. And also, if the private can buy or long lease the former all the facilities, governmental facilities in Jakarta, after they're moving to IKN, they can convert to the commercial buildings like that. So that's why not 100% IKN funded by national budget, but for 54% by like joint venture like that, joint operation with private and government. 20% only funded by national budget. The rest is fully funded by private. So I think it's like win-win solution between limited budget from government now can be funded by private. Yeah, maybe hopefully can answer the question.
Ian, would you like to add something about the adaptive reuse of this?
Yes. Well, just to add to that, because they were very interesting ideas. I was thinking that this building in principle, it's the people's palace. It's the people's building, in fact. So it would be nice when the new building is in the new Parliament building. People's Palace is actually in Nusantara. It's not so close by. You can't maybe visit it as much if you live in Jakarta or in Java. that maybe there is something of the history is also kept, maybe exhibition in the current building, but that the area around it and that the building is maybe used for concerts, other events that people can go to, but that the park is also used, that it's a place you can have an extra park facility for the public in Jakarta. And perhaps it could be connected also with for exhibitions, an exhibition hall as well, so that it gets a lot of use and a lot of interest. But give it to the people.
Yeah, and if I can add to it, so we're currently exhibiting Transformasi Arsitektur Soejoedi in UPJ Gallery of Building A. And we also showcase the result of our collage workshop as a part of imagining the use of future MPR DPR complex in Senayan. So by Haki and also others participants, if you're interested, please do come and see the exhibitions about the MPR DPR buildings. So now we're moving to another questions from Doni Trihanondo. For me, one of the interesting thing of Soejoedi's work is its front stairways, which also resembling that of its time, like in Bandung's Grand Mosque before current renovation. Do you have any clues about that stairway style? Is it part of international style or mid-century? And the other is also the water or pond that reflecting tropical architecture. Do these features also inspiring the IKN concepts? I think Noerzaman or Mas Fahmi could help with this.
I think Pak Nur will explain the step. Yeah.
Maaf, bisa diulang nggak ya? Maaf, tadi ini saya. Sorry.
Okay. It's about the stairways. Stairways in front of the, I think it's in front of the MPR DPR buildings. So he said that it looks like the one in Bandung's Grand Mosque before the renovation. Is it something that is a part of international style or mid-century? And if the water or pond feature also inspire the building in IKN?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, the stairways grand stair in front of the Parliament plenary hall. Actually, we it's also because the assembly hall upstairs. The people have to go upstairs. Secondly, is how to make it like this building like floating. It's made with lights like that, and like the house that we call it rumah panggung. It's very familiar, and also in Kalimantan. So we lift up the body of the building with the pilates like that. So we sit on the base and how to make it to reach the level by level represent the by the stair actually make it more dignity and monumental image like that. So and the reflecting pool also it's also we inspired with Senayan to remind the people from Jakarta also has the reflecting pool in front of the plenary hall. So we bring this to the IKN. But the difference is when in Jakarta, the protester or demonstrant cannot reach the fountain or the reflecting pool, but here they can go inside to the reflecting pool. But not too close to the building. Yeah, maybe Pak Fahmi can.
Yeah, I agree. About the stairways, I think I'm agree that this one is more functional to reach the same level from the plenary halls. From the Plaza for Democratic Democratic Plaza is the place for the people can aspire their voice, yeah, to be the same level of the plenary hall. The plenary hall is intended to be at the highest point of the complex. I think it's now at plus 65 or 60. This intentionally to be at the highest point of the complex. Also the presidential palace, also the highest point of the site is at the, I think at 100 plus 100. Also on the judicative project, they have a main building at the highest point of the site. It is about at 50. Also the Vice President Palace also have a main building at the highest point of the site at the 84, I think. Yeah. So that the intention on the staircase, I think. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Pak Noerzaman and Mas Fahmi. We are actually approaching the end of our webinars. So there's a lot of interesting questions here, but we have to choose a last one. Hello from India. This is from Sujaya Kashyap. Welcome. Can you please share more about how the new design incorporates Indonesian cultural and architectural elements? Have any traditional motifs, vernacular materials been incorporated in the design? Yeah, I think this is for the designers.
I think for the officers complex, as I explained on the slide before, we have the traditional pattern on the clothing. Yeah, we find we collect the clothing pattern around the Indonesia, and we found the similarity about the pattern, the diagonal and the vertical and the horizontal pattern. We we apply to the element of the facade and the drop-off area, the main area, and also at the shading device. We can use the pattern from the clothing, traditional clothing. And also from the interior, a lot of inspiration from the local cultural pattern that can be used around the interior. Yeah. I think the Anur can add.
Yeah, for the plenary hall, actually the strong statement is the facade of the roof here. So it's like a waving pattern of a lot of we find in the craftsmanship here. And the second is we transform a lot of Indonesian cultural art and for the interior in plenary hall, as we show the slides, and also how to not only literally we have to make it the modern the new pattern based on the Indonesian culture like that. So hopefully it will be built soon as possible, so you can see directly to the building. Yeah, maybe continuing the last question that unfortunately we now at the stage of schematic or basic design. The next stage actually the developing engineering design, but not automatically by us like that, because from the design competition, we mandatory we have to do the basic design first, and then after that Ministry of Public Works will tender the consultant for the detail engineering. But from this forum, we hope Ministry of Public Works can appoint us to continue this next stage because our very we can involve from A to Z like that. Will be excited. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we are now approaching the end of our webinar. Before that, I would like to invite our panel of speakers for a closing statement. So let's start from Ian. Do you have a closing statement?
Just to say this was a wonderful opportunity to talk with the two architects of the new Parliament building, Parliament complex. It's not in a research that I'm doing, that's not often the case that you're going to meet the architect even from the previous buildings, let alone a future one. So that was a very nice to meet and compare notes of what is before and after, if you like. And also to thank you and the organizers of for running an exceptionally well run event that is on time all the way through. So well done indeed. And thank you very much.
Thank you. And now, Mas Fahmi, would you please give some remarks?
Yeah, I would like to say thank you for all the sharing from the Ian, especially you have hopefully you have a good research next, yeah, continue the research, and if you have need to data from us, we can discuss later. And then I would like to say thank you to the committee to have a nice webinar. You organize the webinar is very useful for me, and I hope what we share is also useful for you all. Yeah, I think that's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And last but not least, Pak Noerzaman, would you say some closing statement? Oh, Pak Noerzaman.
It's freezing.
I think yes. All right. Pak Noerzaman. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I think he's not in the Zoom right now. But thank you so much. So the remarks have perfectly sums up our discussion today. Oh, Pak Noerzaman.
Oh yeah, sorry, the connection.
No problem. Do you have a closing remark?
Oh yeah, thank you for Pak Yan, Luis, and Anita, Halim, and all the participants and also the committee. This is very honored to be part of this webinar, and yeah, our hopes is actually IKN will be comes through because some people hesitate about this new capital, and hopefully we can contribute our ideas and also whatever we can do for this Indonesia for the future. Okay, thank you very much. Nice opportunity, and good luck, Pak Yan, with your research, and I hope this is also useful for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you again to our great panelists today, Ian R. Lewis, Ardyana Fahmiadi, Achmad Noerzaman, Angelin Basuki, and Dina Kurniati for sharing with us your time and thoughts. Thank you to Museum Arsitektur Indonesia team for supporting this discussion. And of course, thank you to our wonderful audience today. I hope that we will have more discussions in the future. So I will see you all again. And for now, I will give the floor back to Anissa.
Okay, thank you again to all the great speakers for sharing the insightful presentation, and also to the moderator who has lead the fruitful discussion today. So before we end this session, I want to remind you about our other events. The exhibitions of Transformasi Arsitektur Soejoedi is now being held in Universitas Pembangunan Jaya Bintaro until May 30. So we invite you all to please come to our exhibition if you want to explore more about Soejoedi, his works of Gedung MPR DPR RI, and also our exploration which we did using the medium of collage about the future possibility of the new use to Gedung MPR DPR RI after the current parliamentary moves to the new capital city of Indonesia. Other than that, tomorrow we also have a public lecture raising the topic about oral history of as qualitative research method with the case of Merdeka Era building in Malaysia by the speaker Lei Chikian, the architectural historian from Singapore. The event will take place also in Universitas Pembangunan Jaya Bintaro tomorrow, Saturday at 10:30 a.m. So everyone, please feel free to come and join the public lecture. Now I think we've come to the end of our webinar. Thank you very much for all participants who joined in today's event. Hope you can learn a lot from our Bincang Bersama, and we hope to meet you again in our next programs. So good evening, goodbye, and see you again.
Thank you. Kucing.